Homecoming for Michigan against Rutgers. Last year was 78-0. Could they win big again this week? Second drive for Michigan. John O'Corn drops back to pass, underthrows it. It's picked off by Juwan Harris, but Rutgers did nothing with it on that drive. Second quarter now, Khalid Hill right up the gut. Michigan goes up 7-0 over Rutgers in the second quarter. But Rutgers would respond. Janarian Grant in the Wildcat formation weaves, ducks, dives, dips, and dodges his way all the way into the end zone. 65 yards for the score, tied at 7. But enter Brandon Peters. He leads a drive, capped off by a Karan Higdon-Gutty touchdown run. 14-7 Michigan back up. 30 seconds to go in the half. Peters to Chris Evans on the wheel route for the score. It's 21-7 at the half, Michigan. And then third quarter, a Kareem Walker sighting right up the gut for the score. 28-7, Wolverines up. 28-14 now. Peters audibles at the line with the kill. Audibles to the second play call. It's a give to Higdon. He finds some space to run, and there he goes. 49 yards for the score. Michigan goes on to win 34-14.
Did you know that ticket prices can actually go down right before the game? That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time tracks ticket prices in real time from thousands of trusted sellers, then shows you all the best deals, so we can get tickets at the last minute for up to 60% off. Download Game Time now.
Hello, friends, and welcome into the Michigan Football Report. I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is the Michigan insider, James Yoder. James, we'll get your quick thoughts here. Brandon Peters.
Tom, you see this? You see this? This is the first time I've smiled in like 6 weeks for Michigan football, okay, after these games. I don't know where this coaching staff thinks they were going with John O'Corn, because Brandon Peters, it's been so obvious that he is the quarterback of the present and the future. For weeks' time, I'd go back to the spring game. I'll go back to December of 2015, whenever the heck he committed to Michigan. I don't know when it was, late 2015. Why did they wait so long to get this kid in the game, Tom? Those quarterbacks they've had in, John O'Corn in the last 3 or 4 weeks, Wilton Spate prior, we've seen Spate do well, but Brandon Peters looks like an actual Big Ten quarterback. Those, Spate and O'Corn look like crap, right? They look terrible, and Brandon Peters, Tom, he had poise, he had accuracy, he has my trust, is what he has.
Yeah, and that brings us to a weigh-in, folks. We want your guys' thoughts. I'm sure we'll get plenty of them. Why did Harbaugh wait so long to play Brandon Peters? Do you have an answer, James?
Tom, I talked to, via the internet, I talked to someone who, it's a guy who claims to have some inside info with the Harbaugh family. I've known him for a while. And he kind of echoed something I read on Rivals.com this week, that it's just that Harbaugh is too stubborn, right? And he's like, he thought O'Corn was the better option, and something's got to change to get him to go off that. I think there was something about Peters' mentality or his mindset as a quarterback. He's not the vocal guy. We've talked about this in the past. And because of that, I think Harbaugh thought he was going to be more of a passive player in the field. But like his coach said, you get him on the field, that red light goes on, Tom, and Brandon Peters can make plays. I am so happy right now. They finally got rid of O'Corn. The John O'Corn era is past us. Let's hope Peters doesn't get hurt and we have to get O'Corn back in the game. But this is Brandon Peters' team. I don't care if Wilton Spate comes back or not. Brandon Peters should be given every opportunity, Tom, because he is a redshirt freshman, 3 full years of eligibility after this, and Harbaugh needs to start thinking for the future, because he's blown an entire season at this point, in my opinion, playing Wilton Spate and John O'Corn as your quarterback.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about Brandon Peters. Folks, keep the comments flowing. Some good and some bad that you noticed from this game from Peters, James. Why don't you break it down? Yeah,
so I was super impressed with him throwing on the run. There were a couple times that he got flushed out of the pocket, Tom, rolled to the right, and with guys in his face, hit a tight end right on the numbers, less than a yard from the sidelines. His pocket presence, Tom, he looked like a quarterback. I joked to you when he had that one play. It looked like Michael Vick in a Peyton Manning's uniform, number 18. He had presence. He could move in the pocket. He didn't have happy feet like O'Corn had, and touch and accuracy. It's something he threw Michigan-level throws. He threw top 25 quarterback-level throws that we haven't seen this entire season. Now, let's flip over to the bad, Tom. I'm sure you were going there next. So a couple of things that I think you want to work on in practice this week if you're Jim Harbaugh, if you're Michigan's coaching staff. The deep passes to the wide receivers. Tom,
non-existent.
Non-existent, yeah. So he was throwing it was kind of the John O'Corn versus Purdue package, which I guess scares me a little bit because O'Corn did thrive in that game, but no passes downfield. One time he went deep to Peoples-Jones. He threw it out of bounds over the wrong shoulder. He had that near interception on his first drive in the second quarter that should have been picked off, and luckily it wasn't. The defender wasn't paying attention, and it hit him right in the chest. And then there was that play in the fourth quarter, 4th down. He had a man wide open on a
probably would have been a touchdown
on a flag
route.
Yeah, he nails him. McCune had 3 or 4 yards on his defender, so that was a bad throw. But you're going to see here on screen, look at this play, Tom. Michigan, I mean, that is a basic throw, I'm sorry, but Michigan's not seen that all year. So I'm so happy to finally see this. Now, this ball was thrown underneath a little bit, but thank gosh Chris Evans could make an adjust to that play. And as we said yesterday, Tom, Chris Evans making a play out of the backfield. Yeah. I've been wondering where Michigan's wide receivers have, receptions have come out of the backfield. They haven't happened this year. Finally, we get a creative play out of the coaching staff to get some running backs.
That was also a really well-designed play. You bunch 3 guys to the right. They all go to the left. Evans comes out in the wheel route. The safety has to follow the 3 receivers. By the time the safety realizes what's going on there, it's too late. Just a tinge underthrown, I guess. But it was good enough. It was in the right area, and it was able for Evans was able to make the play on the ball.
Yeah, so a lot of good, Tom, some bad, but this is, I guess this is the best I've seen out of the Michigan quarterback look like a true pro-style quarterback. Tom, I guess Wilton Spade a little last year, maybe Jake Rudock the end of 2015 season, but I'm kind of thinking back to Chad Henne in 2007. You haven't seen a Michigan quarterback look like a Michigan quarterback.
You're very excited right now.
Yeah, I'm excited, Tom, because there's light at the end of the tunnel for Michigan football, frankly. There was no light 24 hours ago. Yeah.
All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by Game Time. If you need last-minute sports tickets, head over get the Game Time app at chatsports.com/tickets. James, I know you're a huge fan and you use it all the time.
Well, Tom, it saved me at the Michigan State-Michigan game. I got screwed over early for my ticket. I waited until 5 minutes. They've got this algorithm, Tom. They wait. If you pull up the Game Time app right outside the stadium, Tom, you have your credit card already in. You buy the ticket. You show it to the guy. They scan it. You're in the game. Save me Michigan State. I had a few buddies, Tom, text me right before the Michigan game. They said, dude, loving Game Time. Got in the Michigan-Rutgers game, $15.
Ooh.
$15 in a
good deal there.
$65 face value ticket. So, I'm not a math magician or matician or anything like that.
And I'm bad at math.
That's about 75% off if I'm doing some math. So, Game Time is our sponsor. We love them. Chatsports.com/tickets. Download it today.
All right, folks, we're going to get to the highlights, and then we're also going to get back to the Peters talk. So, keep the comments flowing. We'll get to some of your comments in just a little bit. But if you missed our opening here, we're going to get you to those highlights. Rutgers, Michigan, homecoming, James. And remember last year was not a game at all. 78-0 was the score last year. A little bit closer this year. Second drive, John O'Corn drops back to pass. Underthrown pass. It's picked off by Jawan Harris. Rutgers does nothing on that drive. Though, second quarter, Khalid Hill goes right up the middle. Michigan takes a 7-0 lead early in this one, but Rutgers would respond. Janarian Grant, the receiver halfback in the Wildcat, makes some guys miss. He is off to the races. 65 yards for the score. Tied at 7 now here, but Peters comes in for O'Corn, leads a drive, ends with a gutty Karan Higdon touchdown run. It's 14-7. Michigan is back up. With seconds left in the half, O'Corn finds Chris Evans on that wheel route we showed earlier. 21-7, Wolverines up at the half. Third quarter, the Kareem Walker sighting. He takes it in for the score to put Michigan up 28-7, now 28-14 in the fourth quarter. Peters audible to the line, yelled kill, kill, kill to switch to the second play that Michigan had set up. It's a give to Higdon, and there he goes, 49 yards to the score. Michigan goes on to win 35-14. Higdon had 158 yards on the ground, James. Isaac had 109.
Yeah, the running game, you said it in the end of the third quarter, Tom. The running game came to play today. The offensive line was moving those guys around. Rutgers has no chance to stop Michigan's running game last year. They haven't had a chance to stop them this year. And it certainly helped Brandon Peters have a little more poise in the pocket and understanding that he didn't have to make every throw to get this Michigan offense moving, and that was really nice to see. So loving what I saw of the offensive line, the running game, the passing game. And I'll tell you, Tom, 2 years ago, I said this yesterday, if you asked me 2017 season, who's Michigan's starting quarterback, starting running back, it is the Brandon Peters, Kareem Walker show, and we saw a little bit of that today. Now, I know that there was other guys, Isaac and Higdon, that did better in the running back position, but so glad to finally see Kareem Walker get some snaps back there.
All right, well, let's discuss the Michigan man nominees. Then we'll get into some of the injuries that happened in this matchup. Michigan man nominees, that we got 3 for you guys on the offensive side of the ball. Brandon Peters, Karan Higdon, Ty Isaac. We will also have you guys vote here in a reaction poll in a minute. James, where do you fall here?
Well, I guess it's tough to say. It's clearly Higdon if you go by the stats, Tom.
Yeah.
But
He
this
was
is
balling.
Brandon Peters' team. This is Brandon Peters' campus. This is Brandon Peters' state at this point because it was so clear. My arms started tingling when Brandon Peters went in the game because I'm like, finally, I get to see him. I've been calling for this for 6 weeks now. I've been calling for 6 weeks. Give him some damn snaps in a game that matters. And finally it happened. The entire offense got energized when Peters got in there. The defense got energized. You know they're sick of bailing the offense out every single week. So Brandon Peters is my Michigan Man of the Year, Tom. If we did the Michigan Man the power rankings for the entire year, which we'll get back to this week on Michigan.
Because they won.
Because they won. They've deserved to have some guys in there. I think Brandon Peters is going to go from not even in the top 50 to in the top 5 because this is his team. And you finally have a chance, Tom, in my opinion. You have a chance to beat Wisconsin. You have a chance to beat Ohio State.
You do have a chance to beat
if
Wisconsin
Peters
right now.
gets 2 more weeks in front of him. They've got Maryland. They've got Illinois, I believe, as the Minnesota. I can't remember the 2 games, but they've got 2 more games before.
Minnesota, Maryland, Wisconsin.
Minnesota, Maryland. Then
One of them on the road at Maryland, which will actually, I think, benefit Peters as opposed to having to go right into Wisconsin.
Absolutely.
Camp Randall's not easy to play in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe that Wisconsin game is not going to be a night game, so I think their built-in home field advantage of having a night game
works out a little bit better for them.
works better for Michigan. If it's a high noon game, I like Peters in that cold weather. So I'm excited again to watch Michigan football, Tom. I was just super bummed out, and I'm looking to next year. I'm like, gosh, this team is going to be a disaster next year, too. We're going to be in year 4 of Harbaugh, still waiting for something. I've got some renowned confidence, or renewed confidence, in the Michigan football program. So let's get those hearts, wows, and ha-has going. I'm giving the wow, Tom. I'm going to pull up my phone right now. Brandon Peters is the Michigan man of this team at this point.
All right. Well, we'll talk now with some of the injuries. 3 different players on offense left the game. Kareem Walker with what was called a sprained ankle. He did get some action there. Ty Isaac left the game as well. That looked like to be a leg injury, so we're calling it lower body. Kind of in the hockey terms, players have two body parts, upper body and lower body. Michael Onwenu, the offensive lineman, left the game with an undisclosed injury. That looked like a lower body too, but I wasn't as confident as I was with Isaac. Well,
I'm sure as heck hope that Isaac and Walker are not injured for more than a couple hours, couple days maybe. I'm hoping these guys get back in the lineup next week. So if Walker is able to make plays time, he looks like kind of Peters. I feel like when Walker gets in the game, he revitalizes that offensive line. Like they want to block for Walker because he's a guy who's making people miss. He looks like an NFL running back. I don't know why he's been sitting on the bench. I kind of think that Jim Harbaugh has been way too stubborn with some of these guys. Maybe it's attitude issues. Maybe it's not the right kind of, like when you're a leader, Tom, when you're the head of a department, if someone's not your kind of guy, no matter what they do, it's kind of tough to, have them, get back on your good side. I just don't think some reason that Peters is Harbaugh's kind of guy and Walker is Harbaugh's kind of guy, but they've got talent. They have more talent than anybody playing that position, I think. And I think Walker is going to continue to get more snaps as long as he's not injured with that sprained
I will
ankle.
say this, everyone on that Michigan ground game had success today.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Higdon had 8.8 yards per carry. Isaac averaged almost 8. Walker was at about 6. So was Chris Evans. So the ground game this week for Michigan was nothing short of spectacular. We've seen your guys' comments flowing in. We're going to get to some of those now here. I've seen a lot of stuff on Brandon Peters. We'll use that because we're going to talk more about Brandon Peters here in just a little bit.
Back into Peters
I saw some comments about Chris Evans as well coming in. One of them from Ryan Sayer says, where was Evans at today? Only 5 carries for 29 yards. Did have the 20-yard touchdown pass, though. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. He is now a distant third, I think, in the running back depth chart. And if he wants to see playing time, he's got to come out of the backfield on those passes. I didn't see him line up at receiver, which was surprising today, but he is not in the running back conversation, especially with Kareem Walker coming on today. All right, so we'll keep getting up with those comments here as we go along here. But Evans was kind of relegated almost to maybe not true 4th string, but at least 3rd string. Yeah, he's at least 3rd string by a mile, I think, right now. I'll keep the comments flowing here. Another one coming in from Chuck Garza. The comment actually right after Ryan says, not so fast, my friends. It's only a partial game. Need to see more of him, referring to Brandon Peters. Well, I agree with that. I think if you took the game against Purdue 3 weeks ago and this game, I'd probably sound the exact same, just swap out the names of Corn and Peters. But, Tom, I will say this. Brandon Peters,
I don't want to say is a real quarterback, but John O'Korn never looked to me like a real quarterback. Brandon Peters is a guy that Harbaugh recruited, was a high school All-American level, high 4-star, low 5-star style player. You just kind of expect Peters to be able to make all the plays, and you expect the future to look brighter when he's Michigan's quarterback.
And now to Mary Beth Davis' comments, except for the last 3 games to put Peters in, offense clicks so much better, made some first-year mistakes, but looked better than O'Korn, which I think is very accurate.
Yeah, Mary Beth, good comment. I mean, they should have had him, Tom. In the second Wilton Speight went down, Brandon Peters should have been your quarterback.
Another comment here from David Lopez say, I say leave him as a starter, which I think everyone agrees with right now. He's just going to get better, but he needs to be taught to not stare receivers down like O'Korn did.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to stay the starter. There was a second, and we're going to show it here in just a moment, Tom. There was a second there where I think the entire stadium gasped, every Michigan fan across the country gasped, where it looked like John O'Korn was going in again. I think after these comments, we're going to show that, but Peters has got to be your starter. I don't care if Wilton Speight comes back. Peters has got to be your starter the rest of the year.
All right, Thomas says, go blue, good job, Brandon Peters. Nice game, youngster. Thanks, Coach Harbaugh, for giving Peters a shot, and Kareem Walker some more touches. Says go blue and then finish the season strong is that last part there.
Yeah, good stuff. Peters finally got him in. Finally, Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, you got Peters in the game.
A couple more here that I want to get to here. Says let him have one start first before you start dissecting the bad, referring to Brandon Peters. But, and I get that perspective, that's also very important.
Absolutely.
To point out the bad and where you grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's the bad of John O'Korn and the bad of Wilton Speight just compounded themselves until they just got super bad in that Michigan State game and that Penn State game for John O'Korn. So Peters has to, these are things that he's got to focus on in practice. And if you look next week, if he's in the game, if he's still making those mistakes, then you know you've got a pattern, Tom. And that's just the kind of quarterback he is. And that's a little concerning then. So I think we have to touch on the bad. Peters looked great today, though.
All right, we'll do a few more comments here. Again, Ramon also mentioned that it's all about growth in this point. Yeah. That's also why you dissect the bad.
Absolutely.
To get them to grow more. Cody chimes in, says, Brandon Peters will be better as time goes on. Hell of a player with more finesse. Go blue, keep the streak going, and win out.
He looks like a quarterback, baby. That's all I can say.
Another comment here from Rick Stern, this one a little bit further down, says that he did, or looked like a world beater and was pretty stunning with most of his play. Night and day with Peters. Obviously, Peters will make some bad plays, but why not play the future and sit a guy who can't move the team?
Tom, I don't want to make – I'm not in the meetings, you're not in the meetings, but I do think that Jim Harbaugh, Tim Drevno, Pep Hamilton's stubbornness to stick with a fourth-year junior, a fifth-year senior in Pete and Speight and O'Korn has stunted this team, stunted the future a little bit, but more importantly, Tom, I think they sacrificed an entire football season, right? You don't get these football seasons back. They would have beat Michigan State with Brandon Peters. They'd be sitting there at 7-1 right now at number 11 or 12 in the country with every chance to go into the Ohio State and Wisconsin game with a chance to play for the Big Ten title and the national title, and they blew that Michigan State game out of pure stubbornness, because it is so clear that John O'Korn is not a tenth of the quarterback that Brandon Peters is. And it's embarrassing to me that Jim Harbaugh couldn't see this after almost 2 years of Brandon Peters being on campus.
Let's talk about some of the differences between O'Korn and Peters. We'll show you the highlight again of the interception that O'Korn threw. This was just a bad throw. Like this wasn't really a bad decision. It's play action. It's 1st and 10, first quarter. Play action's fine. The protection's very good. O'Korn's got his man open. If he leads him 5 yards further deep, that's a first down, maybe more. Going to Zach Gentry, good route. Just a really bad throw. I don't know if O'Korn thought Gentry was running an out route or what. He underthrew him by several yards.
Yeah, and it just shows that O'Korn does not have the arm strength to get it out there.
Yeah.
So I think this is a question that needs to be asked, Tom. Why did Harbaugh wait so long to play Peters? I'm going to ask people, put it in comments. I want to know what you think, Tom, because I am befuddled. The only thing I can think of at this point is he's stubborn, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to admit my mistake. Brandon Peters should have been starting from the beginning of the season. And Tom, I hate jumping too far ahead, but like, maybe he should have been starting last year. I don't know. I mean, like, Wilton Speight was good.
He was good for the first half of the year.
Good for the first half of the year, but if you think about it, Tom, Wilton Speight lost his last 3 starts last year. He didn't play in that win versus Indiana, I believe it was. That was O'Korn's game when he was hurt. So Brandon Peters ended the Wilton Speight ended the year 0-3, and you know he's never. I don't think he's ever getting significant snaps in his Michigan career again.
So I'll try to. I do think your stubbornness theory is accurate. I'm trying to think of this from the coach's staff perspective. He comes in against Purdue. He actually looks okay.
But why him? Why not Peters?
I think that's a very fair question. I think at that point they were already committed to O'Korn as the backup, and he was getting all the practice reps. So I at that point, we're assumed that we can't change that fact, that he was going to come in against Purdue. Then the bye happens, and O'Korn actually looked competent against Purdue.
Yep.
Then he goes up against Michigan State, and he gets destroyed.
Yep.
Awful game. He bounces back kind of in terms of win-loss against Indiana, but he also wasn't very good. Maybe you should have pulled him after the Michigan State game and you plug in Peters before the Indiana game, but after the Indiana game, you don't want to play Peters against Penn State on the road.
I mean, I think from a confidence level, you're probably right, but you putting him against Purdue, putting O'Korn versus Purdue, I think it was a bad call. And then after they get murdered against Michigan State, I shouldn't say they get murdered. It was a close game, one-score game. But after O'Korn looked so terrible in that game, the fact you didn't start him in a lightweight road game against Indiana, that O'Korn looked terrible in that game. They went to overtime. They could barely move the ball. The fact that Peters didn't start that game or get significant snaps to prep him for Penn State is mind-boggling. And you had a 3-game stretch, Tom. If it wasn't for an impressive defensive stand, Michigan's on a 3-game losing streak going into this game. They probably should have lost to Indiana based on O'Korn's terrible play, but luckily they got the win. So I think Jim Harbaugh sacrificed an entire season because he couldn't make a decision to get the right guy in at quarterback before it was too late.
I think that you're right. Peters should have been the backup and that he should have played that Purdue game. I actually do wonder what would have happened if the bye had been after the Michigan State game.
Yeah.
At that point, I think you would have seen a change because you would have given you would have been able to give more practice reps to Peters.
Yeah, yeah.
And you wanted to talk about a little bit about some of the tweets that we had come in during this game.
Well, a couple funny tweets, Tom, that I found amusing. So number one is the Michigan football official account, Brandon Peters, and then they tag him BP18. First collegiate pass attempt goes for a first down. Huh? What? Huh? What? You know, he's thrown a pass, Tom, before. He got in the Purdue game. He threw a pass. So this Michigan football account, I'm not sure who's running it, but
it's also, to be fair, it's also very easy to forget that pass because it was in garbage time against Purdue and for 4 yards. But they should know that.
Well, you have access to the stats, and actually, if they're sitting in the press box, Tom, they pass out stats, season stats. They pass out halftime stats. The stats are just smacking them across the face the entire game. So whoever put this tweet out, and it wasn't taken down like in a few minutes. I screenshotted this, Tom, 45 minutes after it's tweeted. I'm not sure if they've taken it down yet, but this is pretty ridiculous. Then we have a guy who's looked pretty good at Central Michigan this year. So Shane Morris throws out the proud of my son. He gives him the little internet chest bump. Proud of my son out there. Keep it going, kid. Tags Brandon Peters. So Shane Morris, a guy I think most Michigan fans assumed would be their quarterback the last 3 seasons when he came out of high school, and he unfortunately wasn't. But Shane Morris showing some love. He's at Central Michigan, Tom. He's not playing as good lately, but he got off to a good start this season. Glad to see him have success. Clearly he's watching the Michigan game, showing mad love to his boy BP18.
That tweet is still up, by the way.
Is it still up?
As of 2:38 today.
That's absurd.
Central Time, 3:38 Eastern Time. It is still up.
So, Tom, we've got one more moment here. If we could prep this video, I want to show this. This was the moment that I almost literally jumped out of jumped through a window. I don't know what I was going to do, Tom, if this happened. So go ahead and roll this footage. I just want to walk through this moment. This is after Peters leads Michigan on a touchdown drive. They're up 14-7. Okay, they get the ball back. Look at John O'Korn here. Okay, Harbaugh's like, all right, let's get in there. Let's get the offense in. All right. Okay, O'Korn's in. Peters like, I don't think so, bro. You got to be out of your mind. And Peters steps in, turns it. Harbaugh points to him. Oh, no, it's you, buddy. It's you, Peters. So that was the moment I literally almost lost it. If O'Korn would have gone back in after Peters looked so much different as a quarterback,
you would have been angry.
I would have literally thrown a shoe through the TV that's about 8 feet to my left here, okay, that we were watching the game on. So happy to see Peters in the game, Tom. I think there's renewed excitement, confidence, not about just this team or this game. I'm thinking about this entire program around Jim Harbaugh's 10 years Michigan's coach. I look to these games and I think they've got a chance, Tom. They've got a chance to win every game they're in with a quarterback that can at least keep the defense from not putting 9 guys in the box every time.
All right, folks. Today's show is brought to you by the Game Time app. If you need last-minute sports or concert tickets, get the Game Time app at chatsports.com/tickets. The reviews speak for themselves, James. 5 stars.
Yeah, Tom. I've had 2 buddies that got tickets to the game today, Tom. $15 for major collegiate football game. I think they said the face value was 60, Tom, 65. That's 75+% off. That is phenomenal. Wait till I'll give you a little secret, Tom. This is a secret of the pros just for our audience.
Okay.
You wait till under 10 minutes left in the game, 5 minutes in the game. That's where Game Time makes a difference. StubHub, all these other apps, they don't adjust their tickets, so they know people get desperate when the game's coming down. You see these scalpers out there after the game starts, etc. That's Game Time. It's kind of like the guy desperate to get rid of the tickets right before the game starts. You get tickets for up to 60% off, sometimes 75% off like today.
All right, that will do it for us today. If you guys missed anything, don't worry. We're going to play this show over. But for producer Lana, James Yoder, I'm Tom Downey. You guys stay classy out there.